My girl likes the smell.
Well, I don't. It's hard. I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym.
It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
Morning and welcome to Tiger Sports Talk with Gator and DT. We're live here in the studio at 103.3 FM The Tiger, sponsored by Trice Hughes Chevrolet. Good Friday morning, D.
Good Friday morning. Been a good week.
Man, beautiful weather. We survived the eclipse. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what a beautiful event. I mean, it's something we'll never experience again, but it sure was an exciting time, not just, you know, for the eclipse, but for the city of Princeton. Had a ton of visitors here, and everything seemed to really go well.
Sure did. We had a big family ordeal at our place, and it was one of those things that I really was hesitant about. I just couldn't imagine. Of course, you know, I wasn't a real whiz on science in school anyway, so I didn't know really what was going on. And it did get completely dark, which I just kept sitting out there thinking, this is not going to be anything. But it did turned out great. I mean, the people that did make the trip, evidently it was worth it to them. But I can't imagine taking a minute and a half vacation. But anyway, I guess they liked it. So
it was, and I went back on our golf course back to number 6 by myself. I took my lawn chair back there next to Dan Hughes' farm just to see what the animals were going to do. I thought maybe the deer would come rushing out of the corn there, and but it was a beautiful time. It didn't really get completely dark, but heard a lot of crickets, and, you know, it was a beautiful event.
Man, you were excited, weren't you?
Yes, I was. We opened up the football season last weekend against the Christian County Colonels, and even though we didn't come out on the good end, there was a lot of good things that transpired Friday night, and we sure were proud of the Caldwell County Tigers' effort.
I was very proud of them. Just from watching and being an old coach and an old man now, but I thought with 3 plays we were in the ball, could have won the ball game, and we didn't play that great. No offense, but you know, first ball game, my goodness, you play a team like that on your first ball game. We used to play people that didn't have anybody. You know, you try to get a scrimmage and people didn't have anything, but here they had to prepare for these guys that are all athletes on both sides of the ball. They had, as Coach said last week, they had 98 players,
98.
And he could only bring 58.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a shame?
Yeah, it was.
I guess they ran out of buses. I don't know,
Yeah,
but you know, that's. I thought we did real well. I was excited about them, and I don't want to talk bad about any kids on the other team, but I wasn't real impressed with the Mr. Football candidate. No offense, that's what I did play, and I coached, and just from watching, and of course everybody doesn't have a great game all the time, but had a great arm, and I just thought he made a few bad decisions, and I don't know how well he had been helped or worked with or whatever, but you know, no offense, and I sometimes I don't ever say things like that, but I thought I would.
Well, he probably didn't have the type of game that he wanted to have, and his best play, I guess, was quarterback sneak. He, you know, a big kid, I'm 6'4" or 5", and pretty strong, and he does have a strong arm, but he had some receivers that looked like he just couldn't get his timing down, and plus we put a lot of pressure on him.
We did. That's what I was going to say next week. You know, we made him look that way, and that's good.
Right.
You know, that's a great thing.
But I don't think we'll play a team as talented overall, speed-wise, quickness-wise, as Christian County, and I was very impressed with the performance of our team.
Very much so. I really was. I was afraid early. You know, when we talk good about a defensive side of the ball, it bothered me because they had tremendous athletes, and they ran the ball a couple times real quick early, and I thought, oh, my goodness, here we go. But our guys stepped up to the plate.
They did, and, you know, coming in, we thought the defense was probably a little ahead of our offense, and it showed Friday night. The play of our defense the score was no indication, really, of the performance that our defense gave. And, you know, we had some times offensively that we were unable to move the ball, and we had to punt it probably a little bit more than we anticipated in doing. But it was a great night for football. Beautiful weather. We had a great crowd turn out, and, you know, we've got that game behind us now. It's on to the next one.
I think when I was leaving, I left just a little early because I wanted to try to beat all that to get home too. But I think Frankie said we had 38,500.
38 set a record. Oh, no, it wasn't the biggest record crowd, but.
And then I thought, man, that's a pretty big crowd. And I don't know if he ever changed it or not, but I believe we ended up having 3,800 is what it amounted to. But that's fine. That's a big crowd for Princeton.
It was a great crowd, great crowd. It's on to the next one. As we said, we've got Graves County Eagles coming in here tonight. It's a team that we haven't played since 1986. And, you know, I can remember that was my first year here at Caldwell County. And, of course, David Stevens was our quarterback, and we had those three great receivers. And we put up several points on Graves County that night. I think it was their first year of varsity football. And it was the only win that I ever had in Cardinal Stadium over at Mayfield, but it wasn't against Mayfield.
Well, back in that time, too, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of people that threw the ball a lot, and that night we threw the ball. We spread the field on them, and, you know, when you're not used to covering those kind of people like that. And, of course, then back in the day, and we've changed that rule now, we were talking about, that's when we had Goat Copeland.
Right.
And he couldn't wait to crack back on somebody. His best crackback block I've ever seen. If we called a quick pitch, his eyes lit up more than if you were going to throw him the ball.
Between him and Junior McGowan, and Junior loved running it.
Yeah.
So, it was a great win for us that night. And, of course, it's hard to believe that's been, 30 years ago? And it's hard to believe we hadn't played them since then.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And Junior's son will be in the game tonight.
That's right. Sure
Junior,
will. I didn't know who he was until I went out there and watched him walk. Looks just like Junior did. Walks and carries himself just like Junior. And if he ends up turning into a football player like Junior, you got something.
You got that right. He was one heck of a player, and, I know they're excited about the game tonight. We're going to take a short break here, come back. We've got an in-studio guest with us, Coach Aaron McClung, as you just heard. And we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about last week's performance against Christian County and what to look forward tonight against Graves County. You're listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and truck inventory fast, and we need your trade. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we know the dollar is tight, but there's never been a better time to buy a new vehicle. With fantastic rebates, low rates, awesome trade allowance, and 7 American car lines to choose from, Trice Hughes Incorporated is sure to fit you with the perfect vehicle at a price that's pleasing. And as always, if we don't have what you want on our lot, we'll find it for you. Don't go out of town for a good deal. Stay in town for a great deal. Trice Hughes Incorporated, where your trade is worth more.
Here at Tiger Sports Talk at 103.3 FM, The Tiger. We were recapping last week's game and against Christian County. We don't want to leave out the other fall sports, and this week was a big week for Caldwell County in athletics, especially on the soccer scene and the volleyball scene. Our girls' volleyball team came away, and we want to give a shout-out to Coach Kortner and the Lady Tigers on winning the All-A Classic once again, and they'll be heading to Frankfort, I believe, to play in the All-A Classic here before too long. Our girls' soccer team was runner-up in the All-A Classic, and our boys last night went down to defeat to Lyon County, so they were a runner-up as well. So we want to give a shout-out to them, and as well as our golfer. She'll be going before too long and participating in the All-A Classic, so we want to recognize them as well.
We got a shout-out for for Dr. Settle's office, too. I talked to Jennifer and Margaret, and they both said they fight it and listen to us every week, and glad we were back on. And I thought, well, Doc doesn't know they're listening, or he'd make them turn the radio off. Yeah. But he doesn't like to listen to us anyway, because when he sees us, he always talks bad to us.
He does. And again, a few more shout-outs. We got several Caldwell County graduates that are playing college football, and last night, Campbellsville University opened up their college football season against Pikeville University and won, I believe, 28-14. And we want to give a shout out to 3 of our former players that are on the team: Cameron Warfield, who's a tackle, and Zach Gaither, a wide receiver, and Jordan Felker. Jordan, I think, had a knee injury earlier in the week and had knee surgery, and we want to wish him a speedy recovery, and we want to give our congratulations to them, as well as next week we got 2 more former graduates that are going to be opening in Division I in D. Kane at Western Kentucky University and Elijah Sindelar at Purdue. They're going to be playing against Louisville, I believe, in Indianapolis. And we also have another young man that's playing at Georgetown College, and Coach McClung, won't you talk a little bit about him?
Well, Kyler is my stepson. If you don't know, you guys know that, and he is starting his last year at Georgetown, and he's played guard and center back and forth this year, and I think he's playing guard this year. So I'm looking forward to going and seeing him this year, and be his last year playing football, and that'll be different for me to not have a kid playing the game.
It's hard to believe it's gone that far, because when I was teaching with your wife at the middle school, he would come running down the halls. And he's a big boy at offense. He's a big boy, but he wasn't very big at the time. But how fast has that gone? My goodness.
And when do they open their season?
They open next Saturday.
Next Saturday. We want to wish Kyler the best of luck, and you and Sonia as well, on going and watching him, and I know how proud you are. Coach, great performance last week by our defense, and a lot of that credit's got to go to you and your defensive staff, and give us your impressions of what.
Well, I was happy with how we played, but we have a great group. We have a really good defensive lineman that anchors our defensive lineman, Cole Baker, and then we have as good a group of linebackers that we've had since I've been here, and Will Bashir. You got Caleb Burden, Hunter Van Hooser, Dylan Gray, and then we've got a lot of depth at the position of other kids that can play. Mac Englebright, he started for us last year. Ben Holt is playing outside linebacker for us, and then we have a really good freshman, Travion Samuel, and Seth Slayton. So we got a really good group of linebackers right now. We should have a good group next year. We have a really good secondary, and with Trell, he was All-State last year. Gabe East is a fantastic strong safety. Dylan Cavanaugh played corner for us last year, and he's playing strong safety for us this year. Gabe plays free safety, and then Jameer Riley is playing corner for us. So, basically as defensive coordinator, I try not to do too much, because those kids, they're good football players, and we try to coach them up what they're going to do and their tendencies, and then just try to let them go and let them play defense. They do a great job. They really get to the football. If you got a good group of kids that are going to get to the football and tackle well, you're going to have a good defense, unless you just screw them up as the defensive coordinator.
Well, we know that feeling, but I noticed too, they all, even if somebody is almost down, they still sprint over to the ball. That makes a difference, because anymore you never know when a kid's going to spin out and go somewhere. And so I thought they did a great job. They really did. The deep backs, and you got Gabe, who he does a good job at safety, because he pretty much has looks like a good mind to know where the ball is going to end up.
Well, the great thing about Gabe is he plays on outfield, so he's great like playing that center field at free safety. But I'm telling you, that kid will hit you too. When he was a freshman, he played linebacker, and then we moved him to free safety. And I love a free safety that when you have a kid that breaks through the line, and it happened against Christian County. That running back broke it up the middle, and Gabe come up and he put him out of the game for a little bit. He'll come up and hit you.
Yeah. One thing I noticed too, we've probably got a few more players going both ways this year than we've had in the past.
We do, and it's just something that we got to get used to. We got a bunch of young kids, and Dylan Gray, he played almost the whole game at linebacker and running back, and we're going to have to get him some rest. He won't be able to do that all year. But we've got, for the first time since I've been here, we don't have like a set running back. We have to go by committee. So we're really going to have to, divide up those reps, and we'll improve on that as the year goes on.
I was very impressed with the Burden kid on offense. Later in the game, he came in and made some really nice runs for us.
He did a good job for us, and that's what we need, because you don't need to step down at that position. You need fresh kids. We don't have a set starter like a star at the position, so we need kids that can come in and they're as fresh as we can keep them and run the ball hard and roll them in. There's probably 4 or 5 kids that will play at that position.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's great. You can't beat that. And it looked like all of the kids that you did put in were very versatile. They could catch the ball. They could run. So really, when you put one in, used to, when Gator and I had to coach at a certain time in the era we were in, if you put a kid in, they said, "Look out, watch the screen pass." They all knew exactly what was coming. But these kids, when you put them in, they don't have a clue what you're going to run.
That's right.
Another thing, you talked about it's Cole Baker, the play of him on the defensive line. Talk a little bit more about some of your defensive line. I believe I saw the Harrelson boy playing some defensive line last week.
You're going to see him some more tonight.
Mitchell Harrelson.
Yeah, he's a real big, tall, skinny kid, but he's very active and he uses his hands well, and he gets to the football, and he's only about 170 pounds, Brad. But he's a muscular kid, so we're going to throw him in there. They got a big old 300-pound center, but I think Mitchell could cause that kid some fits because he's quick. He's quick for that position. So hopefully he'll get in there and make some plays tonight.
Well, I tell you, I was impressed with your defensive line putting the pressure on the Langy kid. We mentioned he probably didn't live up to his billing as a candidate for Mr. Football, but I think a lot of that was caused by the pressure that you gave, and you really didn't stunt that much.
No, I didn't. We probably blitzed maybe 4 or 5 times the whole game. But Devin Kilgore is starting for us this year, defensive end, and he had a good game stepping up for us. He's another kind of undersized kid, but he's very active. He uses his hands well, and he's going to be a good football player for us.
Coach, talk a little bit about our opponent tonight, Graves County Eagles. I know by reading the paper this week, they've a very large team, and what do you expect out of them?
Well, they're another 5A team. They have a lot of size up front. The right tackle's 6'7", 315 pounds. They have a big offensive line. They don't have the kind of speed Christian County has. They're going to run the same kind of offense, but they're going to throw a lot of screens. They had a kid last week had 8 catches for 240 yards. So we're going to have a big job ahead of us. They're similar to Christian County. They're probably bigger up front, but nowhere near especially on defense, nowhere near the team speed that Christian County had on defense.
From watching from you all watching film this week on them, is the regular quarterback coming back, or do you know? Is the other kid that played as good as that one? Or
no, the other kid's not as good, but he did a good job last week.
Yes, he
did. They really had a good game plan for him. That was his first game playing quarterback, his first real game. So that they threw a lot of screens, they ran the ball a little bit, and they kind of made it kind of easy for him. And he did a great job for him. So I've heard that the first stringer, the Mathis kid, is day to day. So. I think we may see him tonight. We'll just wait and see. I don't think their game plan will change a lot. I think Mathis probably throws the ball a little better downfield and is maybe a little better athlete, maybe run a little bit more. But, we're going to be ready for whoever they put out there.
With 2 years experience, too, that probably would help a little bit. But
well, knowing who their head coach is, Lance Gregory, he's in the tree of Mark Brown, who is the Elizabethtown head coach, and Mike Rogers, and they've always been known to run the wing T. Are we going to see a lot of the wing T tonight?
No, we're not going to see any wing T tonight. When Lance coached for Mark Brown, he was at John Hardin, and he was the defensive coordinator. And when he first got down to Graves County, when he first replaced Mike at Graves County, Mike, of course, ran the wing T, so Lance kept doing the wing T. But then Lance hired Les May. You probably know Les May. Les May came from Logan County, and he was a spread guy. He was a Tony Franklin guy. So when he hired Les, they started moving away from wing T, and they've gone to spread. And I don't think Les is helping them anymore, but they're still going to be. They're going to look a lot like us offensively.
Well, one of the, things that you think about Graves County, not real fast, but they're probably really physical. And can we expect a physical football game tonight out of them?
Yeah, that's what they hang their hat on. You know, they don't have a lot of great athletes. They'll have some athletic kids. But they hang their hat on being a big physical team with good linemen, and that's still, you know, that's what they are. You know, they're going to come out and hit you, and you know, if you let them if you don't answer that physicality back, you're going to be in for a long night. So I hope our kids are ready for a tough physical game. You know, whether even if you're throwing the ball a bunch, it can still be a physical game. So I would expect nothing less from them.
They still have quite a few numbers usually.
Yeah, it's probably not like it was back when the program first started. When I played there, we always had over 100 kids. We'd have double numbers. I don't think their numbers are like that, but they're probably going to have 70 or 80 kids.
Yeah. Are they? What class are they?
5A.
5.
Yeah.
They're in with Christian
Man,
County.
we can't get away from 5A.
That's
right.
right. That's right. They're in the same district with Christian County.
Well, I know you're looking forward to the game as well as the people here to try to get that win notched under our belt, get that first one of the season, and it's going to be a tough challenge. And, of course, they played Murray High last week, but I don't think Murray is probably as strong as they've been in years past, and, you know, it's kind of hard to get an indication, I guess, to an opponent that you're going against. But, you know, it should be an exciting game. They should bring a good crowd.
They will bring a good crowd.
Yeah.
Last week against Murray, their whole visitor section was full, and they've always traveled well, so I would anticipate a big crowd.
And, of course, being a 5A school, do they have several people going both ways?
Yes, they have a quarterback plays a little defense. One of their wide receivers starts at linebacker. They have a few other kids, and some of their skill position kids go both ways. You know, they don't have 7 or 8 kids going both ways, but 3 or 4 kids will go both ways.
Did you recognize any of the names?
Yeah, a lot of them. You know, I graduated.
You got any kinfolk?
No, because my family is from Ohio, but I grew up in Graves County and was born in Graves County, so I see a lot of last names of people that I went to school with. Yeah, I see a lot of that.
Well, I know it's going to be a special night for you, especially going against your alma mater. Tell us a little bit, Aaron, this upcoming week, do we start our junior varsity schedule? Some of the younger Tigers, will they be in action pretty soon?
We play JV at Fort Campbell on Monday, so I don't know what they'll be like. I know in varsity they beat Marshall County Friday, so we'll get – and they're a district game for us, so we'll kind of get a look at what they're – and they have a new coach, so we'll get a look at what they do on offense and defense and stuff now.
So do we play I should have known, I guess. Do we have a freshman team and a JV team?
No, we don't have a JV team. We've only sent our freshman team.
Yeah.
In my 15 years here, we've only had a freshman team once, maybe twice, and that was because we had we had like 25 kids in the freshman class, and that's not typical for here.
Right.
So we haven't had very many freshman teams since I'm.
Well, I remember most of the time when we went and played somebody, if we called it a freshman team, they always had sophomores and juniors that didn't play varsity, you know.
Right.
So really, you might as well just call it a JV game.
Yeah.
And, you know, I noticed, too, I was talking to Jay Davis last night, and, of course, Jay officiates in this area, and he says there's a few schools around here that had to cancel their junior varsity schedules because of lack of numbers. One in particular that he brought out was Webster County. He said they canceled their game because I don't think they have like 22 players on the team, and I'm sure some of these smaller schools are struggling a little bit to get the numbers up.
Yeah. And that's a shame because if you're going to be a good varsity program, you got to get those young kids a chance to play, you know. And we, you know, we don't really care if we win JV games or not, but I don't know how you develop kids if they're not getting to play on Friday night. I don't know how you develop kids if they're not getting live game action. Exactly. And any good football program, you better be playing JV football.
And, you know, that really starts down on the junior pro level, you know, your feeder program. You have to get those numbers out and keep those kids involved, and it carries over through the middle school and also into the JV and freshman teams as well.
You know, and we have to play in JV. We play a lot of those bigger schools because those small schools don't have JV teams. So we have to play Christian County and Marshall County and Hopkinsville and Madisonville. And sometimes we take our lumps. But,
yeah, I imagine.
But, you know, those kids need to play. They get practice every day, and they deserve the opportunity. So.
Yeah, you're looking at schools that have 20 in each class that don't play varsity.
Right.
And some of those kids they don't look at and they should be on the roster.
Coach, before we wind down, let's talk a little bit about, I know you don't want to look too far ahead, but of course last weekend was the opening weekend for the high school season. Look at some of our district opponents, some of the teams, some of the surprises that you might have saw last week from the scores.
Well, it sounds like Steve Duncan's got Paducah Tillman going. That they didn't win, but a very respectable score, taking McCracken to overtime. So I haven't seen them, but I heard they're running that Murray stuff, and we've gone against that. And it's a pretty efficient offense. So I think that's going to be our biggest opponent in our district, and it'll be our first district game. So I think they're going to be good. So we better be ready for them.
One of the most surprising scores I saw, I guess, Fort Campbell defeating Marshall County.
Yeah, I missed that on my pick, so that's
I saw Bucket.
yeah.
That was
where was I ranked, Pat? Where am I ranked?
You're ranked tied for first.
That's right.
That's right. I'm on down the ladder, but anyway, that was a surprising win, that I saw.
Yeah.
Of course, Trigg County's in our district as well. They went to got defeated, I believe, by Monroe County last weekend, and they were in a bowl game. Was it at Campbellsville?
Yeah, I think so.
And
somewhere over there.
I know they got their first home game tonight against McClung County. So Union County hadn't opened up yet. That's our other district opponent. I believe they open up tonight against Marion County, I saw on the schedule. So we also want to keep an eye on the district because it's just right around the corner. But we know you're excited tonight, as well as the rest of the Caldwell County Tigers. And we want to thank you for coming in this morning and sharing your time with us. And good luck tonight.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good having you, old boy. Good to see you.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM with Gator and DT.
It's that time of year again. Soon leaves will be falling. Football and deer season is right around the corner. When those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. When that happens, Trice Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 120 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. It's that time of year again. Soon leaves will be falling. Football and deer season is right around the corner. When those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. When that happens, Trice Hughes Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 120 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and truck inventory fast, and we need your trade. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we know the dollar is tight, but there's never been a better time to buy a new vehicle. With fantastic rebates, low rates, awesome trade allowance, and 7 American car lines to choose from, Trice Hughes Incorporated is sure to fit you with the perfect vehicle at a price that's pleasing. And as always, if we don't have what you want on our lot, we'll find it for you. Don't go out of town for a good deal. Stay in town for a great deal. Trice Hughes Incorporated, where your trade is worth more. Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated Offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. It's that time of year again. Soon, leaves will be falling. Football and deer season is right around the corner. When those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. When that happens, Trice Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 120 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk at 103.3 FM with Gator and DT. We want to thank Coach Aaron McClung once again for coming in on our first segment there and talking about the Caldwell County Tigers defense. We now have with us live in the studio our 7th and 8th grade football coaches at Caldwell County Middle School, Coach Steve Kukahiko and Coach Brad Harrelson. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And there's two more. Make sure you mention their name. They'll get mad.
We got John H. Stevens
There you
and
go.
Jason Walsh.
There you go.
We want to thank, even though they're not here, we want to thank them for working with the middle school football program.
It's great to see all four of them have played football in this area or coached something in this area. That's wonderful to have these guys that will put their time in and do that.
That's right. And, of course, Steve played here.
Mm-hmm.
I played against him when I was at Christian County. And
He's not that old, is he?
oh, well, he might be a year younger than me. I don't know. But, of course, Brad played for us. John
sure
H.
did.
played for us. And I think Jason played at Union County. So, yeah, we're tipping.
Well, we've had the Walls name over here forever.
We've had them here forever. Coach, you're off to a fast start. You've played 3 football games already, and give us an update on your 7th and 8th grade football teams.
Well, I mean, if you saw the newspaper this week, we do have a bunch of kids, and we've probably got 49 or 50 kids, and probably split, half and half with that many kids, and we don't normally have that many, but when you take 4 coaches trying to coach 50 kids and coach them up the way it should be, it's pretty tough sometimes. And, of course, but our season started off with Union County, and we didn't know what to expect. We had high expectations of having a good season, and we have so far. And so we come out, the 7th grade are young kids coming out of our junior pro program, and kudos for the coaches that are coaching down there, because if they wouldn't have that, just to kind of give them some basic stuff, then I don't know where Coach Harrelson and Coach Stevens and Coach Walls would be right now, because we're having start fresh. Our season starts at 1st of March, in the weight room, and we try to encourage the kids that helps our program during this time of year. Now, obviously, we haven't lifted in probably a month or month and a half now, and so but we try to keep them active, doing something to help this program. But our 7th grade, they're young kids. A lot of kids are encouraged to be there, and as Coach Harrelson can attest to this, some of them, need a little more encouragement than others, and so we're doing the best we can with what we're working with. But our 8th grade group, I'm so excited about it. It just seemed like when we played Hopkinsville last week over there, we weren't sure how we were going to get a strong test from them. We knew we'd get a good test, just didn't know how big it would be coming off a Union County win, which was pretty a lopsided win for them, and they were excited on the sidelines. And that's what we like to see, is when they can have fun on the sidelines and see some of the guys that don't normally play get in the game and make plays, and that gets them excited. But we encourage them to not take anybody for granted, and we went over to Hopkinsville and played a good Hopkinsville team. Unfortunately, the 7th grade didn't get to play because of the weather, and so the referees made a decision just play an 8th grade game only, which was fine with us. And not taking any away from our kids, we just played a team that we thought probably had better athletes than us, but we played with a lot of heart that game, and we came away with a victory, and that's what it was. And then we had the total eclipse. I think we were still, on Tuesday night, we were still
Howling at the moon.
Yeah, and we played Marshall County here, and I think we were still in the total eclipse because we weren't able to practice on Monday, and it showed on Tuesday night when Marshall County came into play. It's just like, you know, as you all have experienced this, some games, what button can you push to get these kids motivated? And we thought coming off of a high win, you know, against Hopkinsville, then the total eclipse that we would be prepared to play. That's on us. That's on us for not getting them ready to play. And we worked a little on some things this week, and y'all have said many times to your players and everything, we've shaken the tree this week. We're trying to find some other things. That's on us. I mean, you know, if we can't do our job as good as we possibly can, then we need to be searching within ourselves. And so Coach Harrelson, Coach Walls, and Coach Stevens and myself, we shook it up a little bit this week. We're not taking anything for granted because we got a good Callaway team playing on Tuesday, and we hope that we can perform, you know, better. And I know these kids will. I mean, they're not going to lay down. And but our schedule is very strenuous. You know, we have a 10-game schedule. That's probably a little more than most middle school teams have. And there's a couple of teams on our schedule that we couldn't pick up for various reasons. The Mayfield, the McCracken counties. Whenever we do our season and our scheduling in the first of the year, you know, I called around the coaches and, well, we'll see. And finally we picked up 2 other teams. And, you know, we've never played Christian County, so to speak, on a year in, year out. So we picked them up and finally got Crittenden County back on the schedule. You know, we've always wanted them, and I've called and for various reasons, but they're going through some changes over there, so the coach has got them. So we're excited about our season. It's 5 home, 5 away. It just that hopefully a new season will start on Tuesday night, and I hope the fans and the parents, you know, keep encourage their kids to, you're going to have these. I'm not sure when y'all coach you won every football game.
No.
If you did, then you ought to be, you know, on Sundays coaching some of those teams. So it's our job to be sure that we get that out of their minds and focus on our next opponent. And one good thing that the high school has that we don't have, they get to watch film for 4 days. And we're going by word of mouth if we can call around and get area coaches what base defense they run, what type of offense. And we don't have that. And I'm not saying that's an excuse because we know what our kids can do. And we know what they can do. It's just getting to perform every play. So,
you know, one of the toughest jobs as a coach is when you come off a big win against a Hopkinsville, as you say.
Right.
And as young kids, it's bringing them back down to earth and making them realize, hey, you just because you're playing Marshall County, you know, you got to be on your game every week.
Yeah.
And you got to be, you know, have those kids prepared each and every week. And the kids have got to realize that. I know you as coaches realize it. And I know
coaches,
DT and I, we had a tough problem. You know, when you beat somebody like a Reedland, and then you come back the next week and play somebody like a Heath or someone that's, you know, a little bit, you know, you have to do a little gut check every now and then and get their attention.
They
we
look.
might have our heads a little high too as coaches. I know I did it. I texted you Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pumped after that game at Hoptown, and because I felt, I mean, I went into that game thinking if we win this game, we got a chance to win 10 ball games. And I'm not saying we overlooked Marshall County, and like Coach K said, we didn't get to prepare because we didn't get to practice Monday. But that's no excuse. But we might have all had our heads up a little higher than they should have been. And kids feed off of us. I mean, there's no doubt. Whether we're positive or negative, kids are going to feed off of us. So I take some of the blame on that.
I just want to say thank you all, or you two, especially Cookie, for saying what you did about it's on you. But, you know, all we're doing right here at this level is trying to keep them out for the next level and teach them what they need to learn. You know, you teach them that it hurts to lose, that's okay. But, you know, we don't want to kill them and browbeat them and take them down. That, you know, just one at a time. And most of the time, the only people that have anything dealing with that are the parents. And, you know, they keep the score. Even if we did without a score. I know when I coached Little League, when I first moved back to town, softball, my daughter, no score kept, nothing. And everybody in the stands go, it's 4-1. It's 4-1. You know, everybody knew what the score was but us. And all we were trying to do was get the kids just hit the ball. But you all doing a great job with them, keeping them out. I can't believe the numbers, like I said. We used to worry about putting enough on the field to play or even have a scrimmage during the week. Now these guys have a team. You know, it's wonderful to see. I want you to know that.
And I think back when we coached, Dave, the middle school probably only played 6 or maybe 5 or 6 games throughout.
Oh yeah, barely.
And they were in a conference, I believe.
And there wasn't a 7th grade team. Period.
Right. We had 7th and 8th grade together, and lucky to get enough to play 7th and 8th grade together. So you know, it's vital, I know, but I'm really impressed with the quality of opponents that you are playing. That's only going to prepare those kids on down the line. You're playing the Hopkinsvilles, the Christian County. I mean, these are schools much larger than us and probably got a lot better athletes. But we've got some awful fine athletes ourselves. And why don't you talk about a little bit about some of your outstanding players?
Well, you know, as you all know, it's not about an individual thing, but I will say a few of them, and Coach Harrelson can allude to more of the linemen and stuff. But you know, we took a young man 2 years ago that came out of junior pro playing offensive guard, and I don't know what I saw or just felt like that he could do. Now he's been our starting quarterback for 2 years, and that's Dylan Walls. I mean, you know, coming out of junior pro and played offensive guard, and people are thinking, what? You're taking an offensive guard and making him into a quarterback? The young man, and Coach Harrelson will allude to this, he's probably one of the toughest kids we've got. You know, and you know, that's both sides of the ball. I mean, when you have to take your starting quarterback, D, and put him in middle linebacker, my gosh, you're thinking, what are you doing? I mean, if the kid gets hurt, you know, but that's one thing that we try to prepare during the off season. You know, I tell our kids, you know, people worry about who's going to start, the most important kid is the backup kid, because you never know when that starter, when that starter's going down. And you know, and I was really reluctant about having my starting quarterback be middle linebacker. That's when it's on me as offensive coach, have your 2s and 3s ready. That way, if something does happen, then those kids can step in and do the job from that. But you know, Dylan's made strides, and you know, not as much as last year, as much as this year on things we did do. And you know, our running backs. I mean, you know, we got a lot of talented, skilled kids. That, you know, Logan Smiley comes to mind. You have Jabrion Spikes. You have Dylan's twin brother, Colin Walls, big, tall, lanky kid. And of course, Coach Stevens' son, Jack. I mean, there's skilled kids all over the place, and that's good as an offensive coach.
Yes.
You can move kids around and not lose a beat. You know, and that's what's so good about us. And so, and a lot of those kids do go both ways. And unfortunately, people are probably thinking, well, if you got 49 kids, you know, in our system here at the high school, why can't you play 11 on and 11 off, 11 on and 11 off? Well, we try to do that. But there again, we want to put kids in position to make plays. And we want to give our kids a chance in the fourth quarter to have a chance to win. I'm not saying win. I'm just saying go compete every game. So Coach may have some kids' names that he may want to mention as well.
Well, on the line, and that's what Coach Walls and I work with primarily on the offensive side, we've got about 7 kids that we can plug in on the offensive line. I know Coach Gates would love to have, and we don't miss that. We don't miss a player when one comes out and the other one goes in. They're all pretty much equal. So that's a blessing to us. I don't want to single anybody out because we're only as good as the weakest person that's in that group. I heard Coach Barnes and Coach McClung say that Friday night. You're only as good as your weakest spot, and you know, I think you live by that. You know, we wear a lot of hats as coaches, and it's not just coaching football, especially at the 7th and 8th grade level. We've got kids that, you know, whether it's their home life, school life, whatever. I mean, we've got to be a counselor. We've got to be. No, they don't get paid. No. So I appreciate what they do. But our job as middle school coaches is to teach them about football. But more importantly, we need to teach them about being better young men. And I feel like if we can do that, we've won the battle. And our goal is to try to move as many people to the 9th grade level as we can. You know, if we can push 20 to 25 kids in the freshman class next year, we've accomplished a lot. And because we don't know right now who's going to be that star as a junior and senior. You know, you can tell some of them will be, but there's always that one kid that you don't know, and he comes out of nowhere. So we got to keep him interested, and we got to get him on the field so that when he's a junior and senior, he's ready to play.
Well, the one comes to mind, you all were here, Dexter Lander. Coach G tried to get me and Richie to run him off for 5 years because he was afraid he was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And at the end, he ended up going to Murray and playing football.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't leave.
Right.
We tried to get him settled. The coach would say, "Don't, he gonna get hurt. He gonna get hurt." You know.
It's great to win these middle school games, and we want to win every game we play. I mean, if we didn't,
Right.
we don't need to play 'em.
Exactly.
And we need to keep score. But I know when I was in 8th grade, we went 6-0. When I was in 12th grade, we went 5-5. So what did it matter? 6-0 didn't matter. We didn't even make the playoffs that year.
Last
Okay.
week's high school game doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's
But
gone.
we're trying to prepare these kids for Friday nights, and the more we can push on to 9th and 10th grade, the better we're going to be as a high school program.
Well, one other thing, and I'm going to be quiet today, but from when you said, they don't get paid, they do a great job, but, it's for just them. But it's kind of like Gator and I now. Excuse me. We've been out 10 years. This is our 11th year to be out of football. It's hard to believe. But we're getting paid now because they're letting us do this and talk to you guys that we would not see if we hadn't have done this. And so that's our pay too. It's I don't know how good it is or if anybody even wants to listen to us, but that keeps us coming back because you guys played for us and we get to talk to you, and even the ones that don't like us even say, "Yeah, I'll come." But anyway,
we do appreciate that, and it's just like he said, it keeps us involved with the program, and I know you're coaching some of the young men now that we used to coach, and talk a little bit about some of the players that you coach on the offense and defensive line. Give them a little shout out.
Yeah, that's fine. And again, it's not an individual game, but I'll point in. I was looking primarily at 8th graders because 7th graders are still developing.
Right.
In last year's 7th grade group, we struggled, but now we look at them. You give a kid a chance to go from 12 to 13 or 13 to 14, they grow up a lot, and we've seen that happen with this group, and they're very aggressive. But one that comes to mind is a kid that his dad just got inducted into, or going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Leighton Davis. He's the son of Andy Davis. Outstanding football player. The kid goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He's going to be a great football player for the high school football team, probably in the near future. And if he continues to work hard, I mean, he's worked hard to this point, but he's got to keep a level head. And if he does that, he's going to do big things. He's a great athlete, but he's in a lineman body, which is a great thing to be if you're a lineman coach. So we're excited about him. One kid we've got that plays defensive end for us is a kid named Elijah Shaheen. Never played football in his life till last year. And it took about halfway through the 7th grade year before we thought, man, it's starting to click with this kid. He's about 6 foot tall. He's got about a 9-foot wingspan, and the kid can play defensive end as good as anybody we've had. Covers a lot of ground, great athlete. We've got another kid who has a fast motor named Aaron Hensley, just all over the field. If there's a tackle to be made, he's going to make it. Probably made 20 to 25 tackles the other night. And I went to him after the game, and I said, "Aaron, this is a testament to him." I said, "Aaron, you played a great game. You got about 25 tackles in this game." He said, "Yeah, Coach, but we lost the game. We lost the game." He didn't care how many tackles he made. We lost the game, and that's what mattered to him. So that's the kind of kids that we're coaching. And, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that Coach K and Coach Barnes has given us to work with them, and the parents. I mean, the parents have to allow us to spend time with the kids. So they're a great group. We really don't have any issues. I mean, you have things. You're coaching 7th and 8th graders, but so far it's just been a real pleasure to be with this group this year.
Cookie, you made the comment too about you hate to put a quarterback in there and then put him a linebacker. Of course, John H. did that.
Yeah.
He played middle linebacker and quarterback.
Mark
Knight did it. That's right. But anyway, the thing about it is you don't, what you said, and I'm going to try to explain it. When you said that you don't want to put the kid in there and get him hurt, you're not worried about you or the fans or the parents as losing a game after you put your second string in. You're just worried about the team not being able to perform at their level because of a kid getting hurt. So, it's not for you and it's not for the parents. It's for your team.
Yeah. And a lot of times, Coach Tommy, the kids, at our level we're coaching, they're still learning a lot of things. And I guess on me is that I think they should already know that. I think, and we've talked about it in our coaches meeting sometimes. We like to coach some kids that already knew what to do and always just it click like that. But we're trying to nurture them, I guess, in the middle school. But, yeah, I mean, we always said next man up. I mean, you got to get your reps. If you still want to sit back and not get any reps, then how are you going to get on the field? I mean, we're trying to give every kid every opportunity to get in the game as much as practice. But if they're not willing to do that, then I don't know what else we can do as the coaching staff is to stick them out there, and then God forbid something happen and get an injury, then we got parents on the sideline somewhere. Why'd you put him out there against that big kid? Well, I mean, we don't ever know, who's going to be in front of them.
Not in football.
Yeah, and it's just some days that even especially if the things are not going the way as a coach knows it's going, and you start substituting a little bit and getting kids in just to give them a little bit of experience. It doesn't work out the best sometimes, and hopefully we've got not only at our level, high school level, and junior pro level, the parents understand that. But sometimes dealing with parents can be worse than dealing with kids.
Well, when it's your own child,
Yeah.
you're going to take up for your child. It doesn't matter whether they play well or play bad. That's just the way it is.
How do you guys? Let me ask this question. You always ask questions. Let me ask you this.
No, we don't want to hear it.
We asked a question.
Yeah. I've always been curious about this. Have y'all really missed it? Have you really missed the game?
Oh, yeah. I missed
Friday night.
Yeah. As far as
Monday through Thursday,
I didn't miss that part either. But having to go to school and work every day was the part you don't miss.
Well, we've always said a lot of times the parents, especially, don't realize as much time as you put in to prepare your teams, and how disappointing it is to us when we walk off that field as a loser on Friday night when you put everything into it.
Right.
And
on one play.
And it can happen on one play, exactly. And we've always said there's probably athletics. There's no bigger game in life to prepare you for life than being on a team sport. And football is one of the, team sports that prepares individuals, because there's a lot of ups and downs throughout your life. And you got to be able to bounce back. I know, of course, in football, it's a little different than some of the other sports because you got a whole week to live with a loss.
Right.
And whereas baseball and basketball, and, you only got a day or two maybe at the most. Sometimes you don't have that long. But, you got to live with that loss in the back of your mind and try to put it out and get your team prepared for the next opponent. And, it's like y'all mentioned earlier how disheartening it was to come back with the performance you had Tuesday night. Hey, that's going to get your team's attention. That might be the best thing to happen to you all year long. And, of course, we can relate to several instances like that. But, again, kids out there participate in athletics and sports. I mean, winning is important. But, preparing you for later in life is more important.
How many years you coach?
How many years did I coach? Around 27, I guess, total.
What about you, Coach Tom?
32.
32.
Yeah.
When did you know it was enough? When you
You'll know. Trust me, you'll know. Well, you'll know. It's just like anything else. Retiring. We knew when it was time, and I don't know. And of course, I told Carol Boyd the same thing years ago. I said, you'll know when it's time. Don't, when do you know when to lay it down? Or anybody that's left a profession. The good Lord, it's between you and the good Lord, and you pray about it. And, when I don't think that I have any regrets, stepping away from it. Of course, I stepped away and then came back 2 years later, in the summer, and thoroughly enjoyed that season. But
because you knew you didn't have to come back.
True. But I knew I got out of it for a reason.
Yeah. And
even though we had a terrific team that year and the kids really overachieved, we thought, I knew it was time, and I made that decision 2 years prior to that, and I was happy to fill in, but when it's time. You always know, and I mean, times have changed. I told Dennis, I don't know if we could do it this day and time. We did it a different way. Times have changed now. And kids, I know somebody put on the internet some time ago that, kids haven't changed. We've changed. The adults have changed. And, we kind of let them down.
Adults change kids.
Yeah. And, this day and time, especially with, liabilities and concussions and the way the weather. Back when we coached, we didn't check the weather to see how hot it was. every now and then when we got up there on that hill, we'd let them take their shoulder pads
Maybe
off.
if you were generous.
Yeah,
If
shoulder
Coach
pads
Hughes,
and
if
helmets
Coach Hughes
off.
was feeling good that day, you let us take
Yeah,
something off.
but we worked them hard back in that day and time, and it's changed now. The game is speeded up.
But Coach Gates, you mentioned that hill. There's not a day I drive up that drive out there that I don't look at that thing. And you forget about the games on Friday nights. For me, I wasn't a player like these guys that we've been talking about. I was just a role player, but I remember that hill more than I remember anything else. And it's an appreciation for it. You hated it at the time, but as you get older, you appreciate it so much. And it's had a lifelong impact on the people that grew up during that time frame and played for you guys.
Had a worn-out horseshoe around that track where you run around the pole.
It was a hard time, and I'll never forget the day you gave us those T-shirts. Remember that? We walked out there in that pep rally, and it said, "We conquered the hill." That was a big event for us, and I think everybody that played during that time frame remembers that and appreciates it.
It's kind of like back when my parents used to tell me they had to walk to school barefooted, in the snow and
uphill,
3 miles and back.
Yeah.
It's something
that's our war story.
That's our war story. That's right.
But it was a special time.
I saw somebody posted this week. Y'all are talking about the hill, and I've heard many stories about that hill. But I remember when we opened up the new stadium, and Coach G and Coach Sykes and Coach Bill Henry Cartwright and other coaches, Coach Stevens, we would always run where the stadium is now when they were doing the dirt work, and we would look up and look at that, and it was a constant reminder of the effort we had to do. And all those kids would run up to the top, and we'd run down the gravel road behind it, and we'd come down. And this was in the process of building our new stadium. And I remember one young man, a lineman, of course, and he got all the way to the top, and he just fell backwards, and he flipped and turned all the way down. But, yeah, it's those kind of efforts that, we look at it as coaches, what we went through or what you all had gone through or put through kids through now. Times have changed, and, it's conditioning. It's a little different than what it was back in the day. Back in the day, we was running 1040s or suicides or Burma rolls or something like that. And now it's just that you're going so fast on the field. That's part of your conditioning, and you get to spend more time of practicing on your defense and your offensive plays that you don't do much conditioning. And that's it probably. I think I like the excitement of the new system that we have now, better than the downhill offensive line where you just play smash mouth football. But there again, you got to adhere to your staff and your kids that you're coaching. So it's
you
been
just
got
to adjust to times.
You do.
You really do. And everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You NFL may be the only ones that huddle up anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And
they don't all.
Not all the time. They don't. So it's the game has changed some in that respect.
And we've got to monitor the contact in practice. Where before, you're busting chin straps off helmets and different things. We've got to limit that stuff because, you can't do. That would be considered targeting or something. We just can't do that stuff anymore.
Bull in the ring, you had the guy in the middle, and you call this number, and he's looking that way, and they just hit him in the back.
Yeah, and I think you always called out somebody that was behind me.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anybody I could see coming.
That's the only number I knew. I'm sorry.
Well, times have changed, and once again, guys, we appreciate y'all coming in. Time flies by, I tell you. We've been sitting here reminiscing and having a good time here. We appreciate the job that you guys do with the middle school and even helping with the varsity. That's something else that carries over. Seeing you guys down on the sideline at every varsity game, home and away, you don't see a lot of middle school coaches involved that way. And we've been very fortunate over the years to have that.
Well, and that's a testament to Coach Barnes allowing us to be a part of something. Friday nights are special around here. You all know that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's our bonus on our paycheck.
And it
Friday
starts
night.
on Monday. It goes all the way. But anyway, you asked about it when we knew it was time. I know why you're asking. It's not time. You don't need to go.
No.
You don't need to go yet. You're not as
Father
old as we
Time
are.
will tell you.
You need to hang in there. Those kids like you, and they know what the people that work with you like you, and you need to work. And I'm not saying liking is the best perfect word, but it means a lot.
I know how I used to get down. This man sitting next to me somehow would pick me up over on the weekends after a disappointing loss, whereas I'd be hanging my head, and of course my wife would be trying to get, talk to me, and he had that talent of being able to, converse with me to get get my mind, say, look, man, it's just a game.
Right.
You know, we did the best. He said, did you do the best you could do? If you did,
Yeah.
we got to live with it.
That's good.
You know, and those are things that you always remember. And the relationships that you build with your coaches and with your players and parents, they all realize that, and they appreciate the job that y'all done.
And the coaches you all have now, though, do what we did. I was assistant, and I knew that, and I didn't want his job. So I could help him a little more. You know, these people here that are assistants, you know, at the high school level, I haven't seen them trying to stab David or,
No.
you know, any of that. They don't want his job right or whatever. So, you know, there's a lot of people in different systems that, you know,
Right.
they put that knife in you in a heartbeat trying to get that job. Then they're gone the next year, you know.
And there's nothing better than loyalty.
Sure.
You know, and that's where it all starts. And the kids pick up on that too. Your players, you know, they feed off of you and you know, the way y'all act around them and all, and you know that. And I look for them to come back is it Tuesday night?
Tuesday night at Callaway.
Tuesday night at Callaway with a big win.
Yes, sir.
Coaches, once again, thank you for coming in and keep up the good work. And I want to encourage all you fans out there to come out and watch the middle school play. Todd gives them great coverage as well as Ty on all the home games. Your next home game is when? Coach?
We played Christian County on the 7th. It's a Thursday night here.
Okay, September the 7th, on a Thursday night, we play the Christian County Colonels. So I want to encourage everyone to come out for it.
Next week we got.
Oh, yes. Next week, we have Hopkinsville, and we're going to have a couple special guests come in to join us, and we want everyone to tune in. Coach Craig Clayton.
He's coming.
And Curtis Higgins, who are two well-known high school coaches in this area. Both are coaching at Hopkinsville High School. So we're also.
Higgins coming. He's full of it.
Higgins is coming, and, you know, of course, the college football season goes in full swing, and we're going to try possibly to get a hold of Elijah Sindelar or D. Kane, one, to give us an update on their situation, how excited they're going to be. So, you know, we'll try to get in touch with them and maybe have a phone interview with those. And another thing that we're working on doing, too, leading up to our Hall of Fame game against Fort Campbell, is having these Hall of Famers, having one in each week. I know you tried to.
I've got one next week. Stan Hudson's coming in next week.
We got Stan Hudson, who is a Hall of Famer here, and that game is going to be in October, I believe, against Fort Campbell Falcons, October 13th, I believe, Friday the 13th. So we want everyone to tune in again next week for another exciting show with DT and Gator. You've been listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given